Hi everyone, Kevin here. A few months ago, I did a review of Kinsta. I did a written review and a video review of Kinsta. And Kinsta are a managed WordPress hosting company. And what that means is that, with traditional hosting companies, they'll give you cPanel, they'll give you, a little bit of control over how your website environment is set up. But by and large, when it comes to support, when it comes to optimizing things, you're kind of on your own. And managed WordPress hosting companies go a little bit further. You get access to experts, WordPress experts, but from the infrastructure point of view, their servers, their whole setup is optimized for WordPress websites. They're not trying to accommodate forums, other types of platforms. It's solely focused on WordPress. And there's a lot of benefits for that because if your website is built on WordPress, kind of makes sense to go with a hosting company that is optimized for that. The experience with it, they know how to get the most from it, and they can optimize things from a performance point of view and from a security point of view. Now, I did review it a few months ago, and if I jump over to my computer, you can see this was my review. And, I did a video review and I looked at the dashboard and all that. So I do recommend going back and checking out that review. But since then, they have actually had a recent revamp. They've got a new, color scheme, new logo, but they've added a few new features as well. So what I like to do is I'll just jump back to the browser and I just like to talk about the new features. I won't delve into the dashboard area because those changes are kind of cosmetic. They have added a few new things, but mainly I want to talk about the new features that have been added to the service and the changes in the pricing structure. So let's jump back to the browser. So if you look here at my previous review, this is quite good that I've got this because it allows me to see what the previous design and the logo and all that was like. And you can see it's kind of got like a corporate feel to it. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it, but you can see that, it's not really geared towards bloggers and small business owners. It looks, with the pictures of servers in the back, it looks like it's quite a corporate feel to it. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but they have changed it up a little bit, and probably better if I scroll to the top of the page. There we go. This is the new design, and it's a little bit more welcoming. It's a little bit more warm. There's a lot more love on the page. I think this is a smart move because I think, previously with this kind of design, a lot of WordPress owners, a lot of, smaller WordPress owners, they probably wouldn't even have considered Kinsta because they just assumed it was for large companies. But, this is a little bit more welcoming, and I think they've done well. It's a really nice logo. It's a little bit of an improvement over the previous one. Simpler. I like the color scheme. And if you go down here, you can see here now the dashboard area. This is why I don't want to delve into the dashboard too much because I did look into this in my previous video, my previous article. If you look here, this is the previous article that I did about it. This was the dashboard. And you can see that they have changed the color scheme and all that, but by and large, the structure and all that is the same. So they haven't just had a lick of paint. It's not just, cosmetic. They have actually added some cool new features. Now, there's a new page, an advanced features page, sorry. This kind of just, it kind of just goes into detail about what I was talking about before. They explain how they optimize their servers, server level caching, WooCommerce optimization. And they just talk about how their whole infrastructure is set up and how it's geared towards WordPress users. So that's quite good that they've added that. But they've also got a resources section. And my friend Brian Lee Jackson, who is a staff member at Rise Forums, he is the inbound marketer for Kinsta, and he's did a lot of work with the blog and with other areas of their website. And you can see here that, they've got a large knowledge base now. There, a lot of questions to help you get started. They've got a dedicated Learn WordPress. This is just about tutorials we're getting started. It's not too many there, but they're adding more articles there. You can see, guides about, it explains a lot of technical terms and explains about WordPress and how you can get the most from it. So it's good to see them adding that. A lot of information there. I apologize for the state of this page. Sorry, guys. And then there's the blog, and the Kinsta blog has, for a long while, and credit to Brian and the other guys from their marketing team, it has been very good for a long time now. They've been producing a lot of fantastic articles. So the resources area, this is new, and it's got the search bar, and it just integrates all of their information, all their content into one area. So that's quite useful for, well, beginners and experienced users. It's a good place to reference, WordPress hosting and just increase your knowledge about it all. Now, the other change, data centers. Now, before they had, I believe in my previous review, they had 12 data centers around the world. And I apologize for taking a lot of water breaks during this video, but I've not been feeling well this week, so I'm getting very dehydrated when I'm talking. So they've got 13 data centers, and the latest one is Mumbai. And that means that they're going to improve the performance of anyone around that area of the world. And, anyone who's visiting your, websites or anything like that around that area, it's going to be, the delivery of the website is going to be more. But this is especially important for anyone who wants to host their websites in Mumbai, because if you have an Indian website, a company, call center, whatever you've got, your business is in India, then you're going to reduce the latency by quite a large margin. Now, all Kinsta, they're all hosted on the Google Cloud platform. This is really, really good because it allows you to scale your business up traffic-wise. You can go up and down according to what you need. So that's quite good. And you can see here as well, they now offer free website migrations, I think, on the majority of plans. I don't think the very first one does, but we'll come to that soon. Now, here's the thing. The Google Cloud data center is very, very good. It's very well respected. It can deliver very good performance. There is a few areas that perhaps, they don't have a presence. But what they have done is partnered with KeyCDN. Now, KeyCDN are a very popular content delivery network, and they will take cached copies of your website, put them around the world, and then deliver your content quicker. This will reduce the reliance on your own hosting setup. Now, their setup, their cloud network is really, really impressive. They've got about 20, is it nearly 30? Yes, about 28, I think there is, different data centers around the world. You can see they've got a presence there in South Africa, South America, Dubai, Bangalore. They've got everywhere, and you can hold cache copies of your website in all these places around the world. So basically what that means is, say my website, kevmuldoon.com, if I had a cache copy, well, say I'm hosted by Kinsta, and my data center is London or New York or Texas, whatever it is. I'm just going to check that those are actually data centers. London, yeah, I was quite close. London's definitely there. Say my website is hosted in London, but KeyCDN would give me, would take a cache copy of my website. And what that means, it would be a static copy. It means that they're not going to go to my website to, retrieve data from the database. And in KeyCDN, they would store copies of that. So they would take a cache copy and then store it, the 28 different data centers around the world. So if I go back here and we jump back to here. So you imagine, I've got my websites hosted in London, but say you're visiting my website and you're in Sydney or you're in Africa, you wouldn't have to travel all the way to my London data center to get a copy of my website. What you would do is go to the cache copy of my website in Johannesburg, or if you're in Australia, you would go to Sydney. Essentially what you would do is you would go to the closest data center in the cloud delivery network. What that does is drastically reduce latency, and because it's a cache copy as well, your website is faster, and website performance is very, very important. I cannot stress this enough. You cannot distribute the how important it is today. Search engines like Bing and Google actually just have pages dedicated to the fact that if your website is loading slowly, your rankings will decrease. They say it as a ranking factor. And, it could be the difference between being on page 1 or being page 2 of your results if your website is taking a few seconds to load. So for a WordPress hosting company, performance is key. So they've added one additional data center in Mumbai. So that's really good for people that are based in that part of the world, in Central Asia or East Asia. I don't know how that's. people always get mixed up. Central Asia, is it Middle East or whatever? But I would say that's South Asia or Central Asia. And that's going to improve the performance there. But the content delivery network, using key CDN is key, because it's going to drastically reduce delivery times all around the world. So it doesn't matter where someone is visiting your website, they're going to get your website pages quick, and they're going to load everything quick. And that's what you want. You don't want anyone pushing the back button because your website is loading slowly. So that is really good. And the key thing about all this, the key thing about key CDN is that it's free. When you purchase a Kinsta plan now, you get quite a healthy allocation of bandwidth for the key CDN network. I think most people wouldn't even need to, pay any more. For example, their entry plan gives you 50 gigabytes of bandwidth, and you would only have to pay more above that. And that would, that essentially provides you with as much bandwidth as you need. Realistically, I think for most people, for traffic levels in the lower plans, that would give you as much bandwidth as you need to deliver your content quickly around the world, and it's free. That's because Key CDN is a premium service, and they've included that into the package. So what I'll do, I want to jump back, and I'll get a drink of water first. I am very dehydrated. But I want to jump back, and I want to show you the pricing, because this is another key thing that has changed. Now, if I jump back to my review, here's one I prepared earlier. If I jump back to my review, I should have the plans here. Okay, this was the previous pricing structure, the pricing plans. And you can see that the lowest one was $100 per month, and everything was based on bandwidth. It was based on, how much bandwidth we're using, depending on media, images, and all that. Now, what they've done is change that. They've changed it to a traffic system now. So now your account is based on the number of visits that your website receives. If you are on the previous plan, you can continue to what they're calling a legacy account. You can continue to use your account and go up and down as you see fit, and you can continue to be charged on a bandwidth basis. But for new accounts, it's going to be based on visits. And I think this is a smart move, because I think this is a metric that people have a better understanding of, because they can go to Google Analytics, they can go to their website stats, and they can see how many visitors they have per month. So, like for my month, I get around 40,000 visits a month from my website, I think, at the moment, for my blog. So I would be in the $60 a month plan. And you can see, I'll scroll down just now, but you can see that, they still have the $100 per month one at 100,000 visits. But essentially what this has done is opened up Kinsta to a large part of the market that wasn't there before, because at $100, there would have been a lot of small business owners that just couldn't justify paying $100 per month hosting. But $30 per month, it's an easier service to recommend to small business owners for WordPress website owners that only get 5,000, 10,000, 30,000 visits per month. So I just want to scroll down, and I'll show you the pricing here. So all of the Google Cloud drives are all on solid state storage. And you can see, I'll start with the starter plan. 3 gigabytes of storage, and you get a free CDN, which is, as we've said, key CDN. You get 50 gigabytes of bandwidth, which I think for the vast majority of people, unless you are hosting videos or something, that is going to be more than enough. And if you're hosting videos through your website, you really should be using a content delivery network, or YouTube, or Twitch, or Vimeo, or something like that. But for $30 per month, you get one WordPress install, one WordPress website. Now, you do have a staging area as well. And that's something that is really good with a managed WordPress hosting service like Kinsta. You get a staging environment. And what that means is, say, for example, with my website just now, if I want to make I can maybe make a little small edit here and there, but say I want to make a really big change, edit some code in a template, add a function, this kind of thing can really destroy your website. It can make it go down, because a missing semicolon, missing bracket, and your whole website goes down as an error, and then you can't even log into your admin area to fix it. And when you've got a live website, when your website's down, you're losing money, especially if you're selling products and services on your website. So that's quite risky, and the best way around that is, well, in the past, would be to set up a test area. You would mimic your live environment, and you would make the changes there to make sure everything is okay. But you don't need to do that with a staging environment. What you need to do when the staging setup is, you can apply, it takes like a copy of your website and it allows you to stage these changes. So it allows you to essentially take a copy of your website, you make the changes that you want, you test that everything is okay. When you realize that there's no bugs, there's no errors, everything's fine, then you deploy that version to the live website. That is very, very good. And believe me, I have made mistakes. Like, you can get cocky because you think, oh, this is an easy change, nothing will go wrong. Things can go wrong and things do go wrong. And, you know, the staging area is just an extra level of security to make sure that nothing goes wrong with your live website. So that's really, really cool. So if we jump back to the pricing here, you can see that you get the staging there. So that's really cool. Now, when you go up the pricing plans, you can see with the Pro package, you get 2 WordPress websites. But again, 2, but because of you've got that staging environment, you wouldn't need additional, you know, if you've got 2 WordPress websites, you wouldn't need to have 4, like for additional domains and things like that for testing environments, because you've got that staging area. You can see $60 per month, you double the price and you're getting double the visits, double the storage, double the content delivery network allocation. And you get a website migration with that as well, and multi-site support. And that's, you know, those 2 things that are missing from the starter plan. Now you get backups as well, and you can see down here, website cloning is another feature that you get from the Pro plan going forward. SSH access, which is, you know, I don't think beginner users would even need that, but that's something that is provided from the business plan at $100 per month and up. But if there was anything that you need to change through SSH, you know, through the terminal, you could open up a support ticket and Kinsta would change it for you. So I don't think that's a negative. I don't think that's a negative at all. And I'll be honest, as someone who has, you know, gone to the terminal sometimes and make changes through SSH, I hate it. It's time consuming, and I'm not that technical that where I'm experienced enough with all the code. I need to always reference something. So if I can ask it, you know, hosting company to do it for me, it really does save me a lot of time. Now, as you can see, that, you know, basically as you pay more, you get more WordPress installations, you get more monthly visits, and you get more solid state storage and more bandwidth. I like this new pricing scheme because it's a little bit more transparent, you know, compared to what it was before. It's a little bit easier to see what you'll be paying per month based on your traffic levels. And also, if you pay yearly, there, you get 2 months free. So for the beginner plan, for example, that would effectively drop your monthly plan down to like $25 per month effective rate. So if you pay yearly, you can save 2 months in a year, and that's quite a good saving, I would say. It's quite a significant saving. So you can see there, $30 or $600 per year. So that is quite good. So what I would say with regards to paying yearly makes a lot of sense from a financial point of view. But if you have never used Kinsta before, what I would do, I recommend starting up on a monthly basis. Host with them for a few months, see how you find support, see how you find you know, uptime and all that. Now, and this goes to not just Kinsta, but all hosting companies. And then after a few months, I'm sure they've got a fantastic reputation. I'm sure you would like them and you would want to continue hosting with them. But after a few months, if you review, say 3 months, and you review your performance, support, and all that, and you go, yeah, I'm really happy with the service, then you opt for the yearly service. And that's you know, once you know, yeah, this is a company I believe in, this is a company I want to host my company, you know, my websites with, then you switch to yearly. And then you can save those 2 months per year. I mean, I guess it is minimal risk, but I just think, you know, it always makes sense to test a hosting company for a month or 2 before you commit to anything long term. But once you know that a company is reliable, I would say try and switch to the yearly option to save yourself some money. So I will link to my article about this. I have done an article about this, and I'll link to this article as well. This has got a summary of a lot of the changes that I've talked about today. And, you know, you can check that out on their website. And again, you know, very easy website to remember, kinsta.com, Kinsta.com. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this look at the new Kinsta, if you would like to call it that, the new Kinsta. Kinsta were always a good service, but I think, you know, the color scheme and all that, it might seem a little bit cosmetic. It might seem a little bit, it's just, you know, a marketing thing. But I do think the previous design had a little bit more of a corporate feel to it. So I think that in itself is going to attract a lot of people to it. But that's from their side. From a customer's point of view, if you don't care about the color scheme and the logo and all that, from a customer's point of view, it's good that they've added a new data center in Mumbai, but it's really, really good that they've integrated key CDN. They've added a free amount of allocation for key CDN, but they've not been stingy with it. They're not being tight. They've actually added quite a healthy amount of bandwidth. Like, I don't think for you know, the entry plan, we'll double check this. The entry plan for the $30 per month one is 50 gigabytes. Now, 20,000 visits per month, you're not going to use 50 gigabytes of bandwidth. You really aren't. So I don't see anyone really in those plans going over it unless you decided to host videos or something like that. And as I said, you shouldn't be doing that. So there changes. The additional Google Cloud data center is good, but this integration with key CDN, you've got 28 other data centers around the world keeping cache copies of your website, and you're going to deliver your website quicker to people. So that's really good. I do think as well, you know, that their new pricing plans, they've offered two lower plans, the starter plan and the pro plan. This is going to open up Kinsta to a lot of people that couldn't have got access to it before. And I think it's more transparent to a lot of people as well who maybe don't understand how bandwidth works. It's just simpler as well. You know, I mean, I know how to check my stats and see, you know, how much bandwidth I've used, but it's just easier to look at my visits. It's just an easier metric for me to look at and go, okay, I need to go up the plan, or I need to downgrade my plan, you know, if I see fit. So, yeah, might look like it's just a couple of small changes to Kinsta, but I think they're quite significant, and I think it's a step in the right direction. They've definitely improved their service. So kudos to them. I think they've done well. I think they've made the right decisions, and it wouldn't surprise me if in a year they've got a lot more customers and they're a much larger company. So I'll link to Kinsta, I'll link to their website, I'll link to that article that shows you their changes, and I'll link to my own article where I talk about all this as well, which you might be watching this video within that article right now. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please do drop by Kinsta and check them out. If you've got a WordPress website, they do have, you know, I think their pricing is pretty decent, and I think you really can't complain with website staging, backups, WordPress experts on standby from $30 per month or $25 per month if you opt for the yearly one and get 2 months free. Yeah, I can see them becoming very popular within the WordPress niche. I need a drink of water. WordPress niche. Thanks for watching, guys. I do appreciate it. If you have any questions, stick them down below, and I'll speak to you all very soon. Take care.